Hey folks, welcome back, or of course, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot for the first time if you're new here. And as I always say, thank you so much for joining me for our Pick a Card reading today. I hope all of you are doing well and are happy and healthy. Now, without further ado, let's discuss our topic. We're delving into sort of like a blessing reading, but specifically we're asking Spirit today, what is a happy little miracle that will manifest for you before the end of the year? So if you're watching this at the time of upload in 2025, this will happen before the end of said 2025 year. Or if you're watching this in the future, always just kind of take the context of the reading and move it to the end of whatever year you are in. Okay, so anyways, let's get to picking our pile leaders. We're picking with actually the Pastoral Tarot today. I felt drawn to this deck for some particular reason. I really love the art in this deck. I think that's what drew me in today. So connecting with Spirit for the highest best good of all watching. Everyone in our community, please help us choose the right piles for pile 1, 2, 3, their leaders specifically. Thank you. Okay, well for sure this one says pile 1 to me, so I'm going to take that one. And I'm feeling this one right here for pile number 2. And let's see, for pile number 3 today, feeling drawn to, let's see, this one. There we go. And let's unveil the pile leaders together. So these will be kind of landscape oriented, so just bear with me as I kind of adjust them around on the table. So for pile 1, you have, the Hierophant, which looks to have some sort of school teacher type figure on the card. And a wonderful little ginger tabby, always cute. So pile 1 is the Hierophant. All right, for pile number 2, your pile leader today is the Two of Cups. We have, almost looks like a young couple or someone getting married. Right next to a gorgeous little lake. And last but not least, for pile number 3 over here on the right, your pile leader today is 2 blue jays with the 5 of Swords. Okay, let's adjust everything here. Make it a bit more neat. So just to reiterate, pile number 1 over here on the left, you are the Hierophant with the school teacher. Pile 2, you are the Two of Cups with the young couple. And pile number 3 over here on the right, you are the 5 of Swords with the 2 blue jays on the branch. So as I always say, you are 100% welcome to pause on this part of the reading if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. If you are new to Pick a Card readings and you want my suggestion on a method to choose, or perhaps you've just had a really busy, stressful day, we've all been there, totally get it, please follow my voice right now for a meditative moment. So close your eyes and take in the deepest breath you've taken all day long, then hold it for just a few moments. And then when you breathe back out again, open your eyes and look at these 3 different cards. Where are your eyes drawn most first? And when you look at that card, does it feel right down in your gut? Or sometimes another method I like to use is just to close my eyes and ask my spirit guides, give me a number 1 through 3. And that's another method you could use to choose your pile based on which number your spirit guides provide you with, okay? But whatever your method, when you are ready, you can drop down to the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile, and I'll see you in our chat about a happy little miracle manifesting for you before the end of the current year. See you in the reading. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 1. Welcome to your Pick a Card reading today about the happy little miracle manifesting for you by the end of the current year. And as you recall, your pile leader you chose today was the wonderful Hierophant with the school teacher and the ginger cat down on, looks kind of like the boardwalk / porch of the school. And the reason why I believe the teacher was chosen for this particular card is because the Hierophant tends to represent tradition or things being passed down, especially knowledge, pile number 1. It's also the card of things being kind of like legacy. It's kind of like the Ten of Pentacles that way, but it tends to be more about things passed down that aren't tangible like the Ten of Pentacles. It's more about the spiritual and the emotional and the mental kind of knowledge that's passed down over time. Sometimes it can also represent authority. So what this tells me right off the bat, why I explain all that, pile number 1, is that your happy little miracle manifesting by the end of this year is something to do with either some sort of knowledge being given to you, or maybe you being placed into some sort of like leadership role, or something to do with a leadership position around you, or I should say specifically like a leader as a noun, that like there's going to be some sort of positive change surrounding them. Okay, we'll see, of course, with other cards what the other details are. Those will give us a little bit more of the nitty gritty and the finer like understanding points of what the miracle or the blessing is, but that's what I am seeing so far, just because intuitively you were drawn to the Hierophant as your pile leader. That, or some of you, if you are related to like any learning fields with your career, like say if you're a teacher, a professor, or you're looking to kind of like go into those fields, or maybe even you are currently getting education of some sort, because that is a school and a teacher, right? For those of you where that resonates, that might be where this happy miracle blessing is kind of coming from. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go forward. So looking at the cards today, I'm drawn to first pick out your Lenormand, and we're also going to choose your tarot cards, other than, well, we already had the Pastoral Tarot, of course, but let's do Lenormand first. So Spirit for pile number 1 today. What do you want to tell them about this miracle manifesting by the end of the year? What blessing is it? Thank you. 3 cards, please. And for some reason, pile number 1, I'm getting this feeling of like holding my breath a lot, or like having a tightness of the chest. I don't know if you're really anxious about whatever this is. Especially for those of you that it's like school related. I don't know if maybe you're waiting to see if you got in somewhere or accepted to some, or maybe if even it's not like school, it's like a career related, that you're like, oh man, I hope I got accepted to this particular thing. There's a bit of an anxiety in terms of like a squeeze in the solar plexus here in the heart. Also, that kind of overall area from between like the heart chakra and the solar plexus chakra. I don't know, you're very worried and stressed out about whatever this is. But the good news is, pile number 1, is that this is where the blessing is coming in. So I have a really good feeling, we'll see with the cards that pop out, that there's a positive turn coming in this area that you're kind of, I feel that kind of heart clench about. Okay, thank you, Spirit, for that. So there's your Lenormand. Let's look at the cards. I'll explain them later, though, as we have to redraw your tarot. So we have the Rider. Okay, so the Rider tends to mean maybe news of some sort. Wonderful. That might be a really good sign, depending on what you're looking for. We have the Tree, specifically the Christmas or winter variant. The Holly Tree. Okay, so it could also represent timing. So for those of you that are maybe already kind of understanding what this might be based on what I already said, in terms of timing, I would say in the winter. Okay? So as I always say, extrapolate that towards the year that you're currently in when you're watching this. And then we have the Woman. Okay. Interesting. So that could represent you, pile number 1, if you are, of the feminine gender. It could also represent that there's a woman involved in this particular miracle blessing coming your way. As I said, I will explain more about this in detail later. Let's first also draw your tarot cards. I just wanted to give you a bit of a glimpse at what was coming, though. All right, Spirit, same thing with the tarot cards. 5 cards, please. Tell us more. Thank you. Tradition and teaching and authority. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so the first tarot card today, pile 1, is The Page of Wands. Yes, exploring something new, especially regarding a passion of some sort. Yes, okay. So even if, for those of you who were like, I was talking about like the teaching stuff or school stuff and it wasn't really necessarily resonating, what the Page of Wands represents in general, for those of you that does apply to, and then those of you that it doesn't, okay, is that you're exploring something regarding a passion of yours, because the Page of Wands is the kind of the student or the explorer or like someone who's new energy to the element of fire, which, as I said, is things that you are passionate about, things that you really want to pursue, things that really give you a spark that you have a lot of willpower towards. All right, especially upright too. It looks like it's pretty good so far. Wonderful. Then the next card is, we have a Knight of Swords reversed. So I wonder, pile number 1, this might be where some of that anxiety is coming in, because like when I felt that kind of heart clench, solar plexus clench earlier, because the Knight of Swords reversed can either represent something not happening fast enough, especially regarding information, because he is a card of air with his suit being the swords, or like hearing back on something, or it could also be that something you felt like was communicated like too hastily, like you got rejected too quickly, or maybe you submitted something of some sort and you were like, oh man, like I rushed through that, God, because sometimes the Knight of Swords can also reversed represent like someone who feels like they've been kind of impulsive with some sort of either communication that they've had or like information they've been trying to send or that they did send. Okay, maybe that's where the anxiety, like I said, is coming from. It's like, oh no, I was really passionate with the Page of Wands is like the inciting incident. Really passionate about whatever this is. But then, with the Knight of Swords reversed, it's like, ooh, did I do that too quickly? Or was I rejected too quickly? Like, things like that. Okay. And then in the middle, we have the King of Swords reversed. Yes. Okay, so definitely maybe a feeling of, ooh, I messed up. That's definitely where this anxiety is coming from. The King of Swords specifically reversed can represent a feeling that we messed up once again, because he's the same suit as the Knight, right? In communication, or like something was spoken too quickly, or something was done too quickly in terms of, like, as I said, communication and truth. Sometimes the King of Swords reversed can represent a person involved that has been harsh of tongue. Specifically, they tend to be masculine because it is a king, right? Not a queen. So that could be, for those of you where this is resonating, where you're kind of maybe hoping for something towards, like, say, just for an example, you have a manager that you're kind of hoping maybe leaves, or like a boss that maybe leaves a company that you're working at, because you're like, man, this person's just not good with authority. Like, they're just, that might represent that King of Swords. Maybe the reason why you want them to leave is because they have been harsh of tongue, or it could also mean, even if they're not really like rude to you, pile number 1, it can mean someone who is like not clear in their communication, maybe like kind of just an ineffective kind of boss, that type of thing. And I say that too because it's also some of the energy of the Hierophant leaning into this reading, because, as I said, a boss can be represented by a Hierophant figure, because authority, passing knowledge down, kind of like a legacy, sort of, in terms of not so much material things, but more on the mental, emotional side of things. So, And it's interesting, too, because it's like this woman, this school teacher, has keys in her hand, like she's passing down the keys to something. I'm interested to see where this goes, and as I said, we'll talk about the Lenormand, too. And then we have, beautiful, the 5 of Cups reversed. Okay, so pile number 1, I can guarantee you right now, I mean, we already kind of knew this because this is a blessing reading, so it's always going to be a positive outcome with this kind of reading, but we have the 5 of Cups reversed, which is in the near future. So every card so far has been kind of like, here's the inciting incident, like what started all this, all the way up till, events to the present with the King of Swords reversed and kind of the present energy. This is the near future. 5 of Cups reversed represents overcoming a time of hardship or overcoming a time of sorrow. If it was upright, it'd be like, oh, you might still be sad for a while. But no, it's reversed, pile number 1, meaning things are gonna, at least in terms of like that emotional clench I was feeling earlier, that anxiety, that sadness maybe that you're feeling over whatever this is, like that's coming to an end soon. And then last but not least, we have, speaking of, because remember I was like, oh, the Hierophant is kind of like the 10 of Pentacles. Well, there we go. We have the 10 of Pentacles pop out. Things being passed down, and this time materially, because this is a Pentacle suit card, and the Pentacle suit, pile number 1 in tarot, is Earth, and Earth is all about what's around us. It's all about what's here on the physical plane. It's also about career and finances, home security, those types of things. For those of you where you've recently been having maybe a bit of a gripe with a manager or a boss, I think not only is that boss, and I hesitate to say this if this is a boss that maybe you don't necessarily like hate, but maybe still you think, well, I don't hate them, but they are kind of ineffective. I think they're going to be removed from the equation by the end, like by winter here or during the winter, because of that holly tree with the Lenormand. I say that because we have so many cards about legacy and things being passed down, and like your sorrow coming to an end after a time of like lots of ineffective communication. And I almost wonder, Pile 1, if you're the one who's going to be given the keys, like you're going to get their role. That's what I'm hearing intuitively for some of you. For some of you that maybe other examples that I provided where like this reading could apply, like say you're trying to get into, say, a teaching job, or you're trying to get more education on something, leaning more into that particular way you could interpret this reading. I do see positive change especially because of the Five of Cups reversed. We already talked about how great a card that is to get reversed. Sorrow coming to an end, wonderful. And then also with the Ten of Pentacles in that particular case would represent a situation where there's like because tens in tarot tend to represent like endings. They're like, the end of each suit before, of course, the court cards begin. So it's kind of like, here's the final chapter in something that you've been doing regarding finances or career. And especially with it being upright, it happens in a happy way. So I want to say that you'll probably like get accepted, or it's like whatever you're like seeking that you're worried about, I guess, in all cases. Don't worry, because you're going to find the success that you've been looking for. Reading the Lenormand too, I haven't even touched on that in full yet. Lenormand is read often kind of like each card is sort of like a word in a sentence, Pile number 1. And if I were to read this all in one sentence, there's something about, so the delivery of news in the winter from a woman or feminine energy, or news or an announcement of some sort because of the bard or the writer. And then the tree can sometimes represent both health and family too. So for those of you, maybe this is like you're worried about something with health or family, that can be one way that the tree represents itself too. So news about health or a family member, or about your family in general, from a woman. So that's kind of where, like, if that's how it applies to you more, that's how this Lenormand reading would be read, okay? Excuse me. Oh, my voice is a bit scratchy today. Yes, okay, so some of you might be waiting on news from a woman or feminine energy, especially, like I said, in those areas, like health, family was the other one, and that's another meaning of the Ten of Pentacles too, is it's also a very family-heavy card, Pile number 1, because it is the card of inheritance. It's like generations in a family. You can kind of see here with, like, here is like the grandfather, here's like the father, here's like the son, and kind of just talks about like how things pass down from generation to generation. So as I said, very family-oriented card as well. So things you're worried about maybe with your family, like you're worried about like, is something going to pass down right, or is this struggle or strife that's been causing me that Five of Cups energy that finally gets reversed, like that's going to come to an end, something along those lines. And then we also do have 2 additional oracle cards to pull. Those will provide, of course, kind of like the final details from Spirit. So let's draw those now, Pile 1. Spirit, anything else you want to say to Pile 1 about this situation? It seems like there's good news coming, either if, they have an ineffective manager, or like if they're looking for some sort of goal regarding education or teaching. Let's see here. Oh, this one for sure. Yeah. So it says, okay, patience. All right. We have, it looks like a crane of some sort. Patience. Beautiful. Talk about that in a moment. Excuse me. Wish my voice wasn't so scratchy today. I don't know why. I haven't really been straining it much, so could just be allergies. Anything else, Spirit, with this deck? Thank you. Boy, you got 2 cards that popped out, or is that 3? Oh boy, I don't know if we'll have a room on the table, but I'll try to make room. Yeah, so we actually have 3 cards, Pile number 1. So bear with me, might be kind of squished over here. Number 1, we have strength, beautiful. Number 2, we have listening. And number 3, we have surrender. So I'll just hold those up for you to see. So strength and listening and surrender. So yes, the listening makes me think, once again, it's like you're waiting to listen or hear back from somebody on something. Like you've been kind of waiting in the wings. You're like, oh, I'll keep my ear to the ground. What's going on here? And so far, maybe it's been really silent. And that's maybe part of what's been causing your anxiety, pile number one, because you're like, oh man, I feel like I'm not hearing anything. Everything's kind of mum. Like, I don't know. But basically what this reading is saying, especially as these final oracle cards are kind of like I see as advice from spirit, at least for you to take into account before this manifests here, especially I think in the winters when it'll happen. Or it could also be October. We do have 10 here with the 10 of Pentacles, which it is the 10th month, and this reading is being uploaded in October of the year that it is uploaded. So, as I always say, no matter what year you're watching this in, extrapolate that to the year that you're in. But, yeah, it's like advice in terms of, like, we know it's been hard waiting. And it almost feels like the waiting and the listening has been kind of killing you inside. You're like, oh man, I don't know. I don't know if I can wait any longer. I don't know. Like, am I going to hear back? Or maybe that's also where a lot of this negative reversed swords energy comes into, because that can be communication that's stifled, almost kind of like a blocked throat chakra. Like, oh man, I'm not hearing anything. Feels like no one's really saying anything. But they're saying, pile number one, for you to have patience. I know it's really hard. And it's kind of, I guess you might think of it as like, well, that's a duh advice. I have to be patient until I hear back, right? I can't just force it. But they're patting you in the back for your patience so far, as well as reminding you, we know it's grueling to have to wait to hear back, or grueling for you to have to wait until this thing comes to a resolution, but we promise that it will, okay? Because remember, once again, you had that 5 of Cups reversed, pile one. That's a really good sign, especially with the 10 of Pentacles afterwards, in terms of like career stability and finances and stuff, and family as well, as I said. And just surrender. So surrender is usually a card about, it's not something that you do... I guess you do make a conscious choice to surrender, pile one, but it's not something that you put much effort into after you kind of just release and let go. Like she's releasing these butterflies. She's letting them go, and she's like, let's see how this transforms. As butterflies are symbols of transformation and rebirth. So surrender and listen, and then strength too. I almost wonder if some of the frustration you've had so far, pile one, has been you've had to hold up a lot. We almost kind of have an Atlas type image here with the Strength card. She's holding, almost looks like the whole celestial sky upon her shoulders, like Atlas holds up the world on his. And I believe it's Greek myth, right? And it's like, oh man, I don't know if I'll, longer I can carry this burden. Maybe that's, especially if it's like a bad boss or ineffective boss, maybe is a better word to use. Or it's like, it's interesting too, because she's holding up a star. Here it says literally star. And I know this isn't a tarot card, but intuitively I'm drawn to the meaning of the star card in tarot, which means to have hope or faith in things. It's like she's holding up this whole world on her hope or her faith. It's tough. It's not easy. She's had to be, patient. She's had to surrender. She's had to let go. She's had to just, okay, well, I'll just sit down and I'll listen and I'll wait. But she's rewarded for it in the end. Okay. You're rewarded for it in the end. So whatever your struggle, whatever your trial has been, pile number one, I promise you, if anything that I've said in the reading today is resonating in terms of, when I was explaining maybe potential contexts, ineffective manager, education, teaching related things, etc., everything that I've kind of mentioned so far, or things with health or family too, especially with that tree card from Lenormand, just be patient. I know it's hard. But better times are coming. This is the happy little blessing. And the blessing is to, like I said, news of some sort. Or it could also be a message. The bard can mean a message in Lenormand. So a message about family, health, okay, those things. In the winter, especially with the holly tree version of a card, from a woman or feminine energy. You just have to be patient. And then I will draw one final tarot card for you. I do have some time left for you, pile number one. Kind of maybe just one more little hint about the tangible blessing here. Because I know sometimes in previous comments I've had people ask, can you do some more clarifier cards? So I'm going to do that right now to honor that request. So, Spirit, anything else you want to say about the physical, tangible, blessing here with this? Like, I know we said there's news, and it's something they've been waiting for. So a lot of you might already kind of know, because it's inherently with your recognition. You're like, oh, I already know what this will be, but yeah, let's pick this one right here that feels right. We've got the Nine of Pentacles reversed. I'm actually going to pick one more too for clarity, and the Hermit. Okay. So the Nine of Pentacles reversed is, I call it the gumball card. And I say that because I often use the metaphor of a gumball machine with the Nine of Pentacles. Upright, a Nine of Pentacles energy would be you put your quarter in, you get your gumball out. Reverse, though, pile number one, you put the the quarter in, and you don't get the gumball out. AKA, it's a card of feeling like you're not getting the fruits of your labor out of something. And the Hermit can mean either an older male figure. It can also represent like introverted energy going within, inner work being done, and then also like wisdom kind of being shed from that inner work being done because of the lantern that he's holding, like a beacon of light, or which is, symbolic of truth in tarot and a lot of the symbolism. So the blessing, they're saying, putting that all into context here, tangibly, is something to do with something that you've been kind of working on a lot in that kind of inner energy, okay, with that Hermit energy, that you feel like you have not gotten the fruits of your labor out of fairly, okay? So maybe that's even where the manager stuff comes in. Maybe a boss isn't fairly paying you, which, that's not good, right? In which case the blessing would be like, that's going to be righted here. You're going to have that, that Nine of Pentacles energy that's currently, you're not getting the gumball out of the machine based on the quarters that you put in. That turns around, okay? And then, yes, it's interesting too, because the Hermit can be hidden energy too. I think there's a hidden element at play here too, pile number one. A hidden element at play here. You also got 2 9s, which is like nearing completion, because it's almost at 10. You're almost there, pile number one. And like I said, if you're watching this in the month that I upload in October, winter is just around the corner. So that would make a lot of sense as to why it's like very close. Okay. Yeah, you're almost there. Okay, so just hold on. Have that patience, as Spirit was asking with your patience card. And then, of course, your surrender, listening, and your strength card as well. And you will be rewarded. And that's your little miracle, your happy little blessing coming your way by the end of the year, pile number one. So, of course, most of all, I hope that reading helped you. I hope that it resonated and you liked it. And if so, please like the video, comment down below, and subscribe. It's my little spiel I always say at the end of each reading, but it does help a lot if you choose to do, even just one of those things, if not all three. And thank you so much if you decide to do so. I'm always grateful for likes and comments and subscriptions. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile one. Hello there, my wonderful pile number two. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the happy little miracle / blessing that's coming your way by the end of the year. And as you recall, you were drawn to the beautiful 2 of Cups as your pile leader. Now, this particular representation of the 2 of Cups is quite symbolic of what the card means. And the 2 of Cups, my friends, represents, well, number one, relationships. But it can also mean harmony of the soul and of the heart, especially being the cup suit, which is the water suit in tarot, which deals with all those things, relationships with others, our connections, our intuition, as well as how do we feel about things. It's a very emotional suit. So I get the feeling, pile number two, because you were drawn to this particular card right off the bat with your intuition, that your happy little miracle / blessing is going to be something regarding a relationship of some sort. Now, that might be, maybe you literally are like looking for love, or you're seeing somebody and you're hoping it gets to the next level of commitment, or maybe you're even kind of hoping for a ring. And this is a marriage card, this particular depiction at least. In which case the little blessing miracle might be related to that. Or it could also be, if you are experiencing some sort of disharmony in a relationship, because this is a landscape deck, so I don't really ever read like reversals or uprights with this particular deck, but I will say the 2 of Cups, if it is reversed, can mean, as I said, like disharmony in relationships. It can also mean that there's a happy twist of fate coming regarding a relationship that is in that disharmony type of energy, okay? So, or, even if it's not a person, it doesn't necessarily have to be your disharmony with another person. Sometimes, very rarely, I also read the 2 of Cups as a card of the disharmony of our heart with something that we're doing, or the disharmony of our heart or vice versa, harmony of our heart with something that is like around us. Okay, so our other cards will, of course, provide, excuse me, my voice is a bit scratchy today. Oofda. Our other cards will provide more nitty-gritty details, but that is what I'm seeing right off the bat. So let's see where this goes. So Spirit, let's first work with Lenormand, please. 3 cards for pile 2. Thank you. Can you tell me a little bit more about this miracle by the end of the year? Thank you. What's coming their way that will make them, will probably smile, I guess. Usually we smile when we get blessings, right? Right there. Okay, thank you, Spirit. And let's draw those 3. Feeling drawn to that part of the deck. And then, of course, we'll also draw a tarot spread, but I'll reveal your Lenormand to start, just to give us a taste of what's coming. Oopsie. Okay, so the first Lenormand card today is, we have the Man. Okay, which can mean literally, physically a man, especially being Lenormand. Could also mean masculine energy. We have the Moon. So our feelings, unconscious, our subconscious, our intuition. It's a little bit different than the Moon card in tarot. Lenormand's slightly different meaning. And then last but not least, we have the Fish. Interesting. So fish is often to do with exchange or business or career sometimes. It's like the exchange of, because we used to have barter systems. We didn't always have currencies, right? We would say, hey, instead of here's $1, here's the fish I caught. Give me, I don't know, a sack of flour, whatever. Depending on the barter system, of course, what part of the world we're talking about, right? But using flour and fish as an example. So it's an exchange. It's money. Interesting. So a man, the Moon, and exchange, business, career. Let's look at your tarot cards, and then we'll interpret it all in totality here, pile 2. Spirit, 5 cards, please, for pile 2 for this one. Thank you. It's a miracle blessing coming by the end of the year. Okay. And towards the end of the deck, okay. Right there, thanks, Spirit. Okay. Beautiful. And let us unveil. First up to bat, we have, oh, wonderful, we have the 9 of Swords reversed. Reducing our anxiety or our worry about something. Okay, fantastic. Could be that's exactly what you've been seeking. Maybe you've been worried about something a lot recently and you're like, oh man, it's keeping you up at night. It's making you anxious and worried. We have the Ace of Wands. Okay. It depends on if this is a romantic context or if this is a, as I said, not necessarily the relationship interpretation of the 2 of Cups, pile number 2. Sometimes that can mean like a new spark of something, because the Ace of Wands is the first card of, it's like the start of something new with passion, because it's a fire card in tarot. Especially if you're looking for a male partner. Sometimes the Ace of Wands does represent like a new male partner. Let's keep going. We have the, another ace, but we have the Ace of Swords reversed. Not new energy though, not a new idea. Not new. And then we've got, oh, look at that. You got the 2 of Cups again, pile number 2. You literally got it twice. You got your pile leader and you got the regular 2 of Cups. Okay, so for sure I'm pretty sure this is a relationship related thing, pile number 2. Or as I said, the harmony of some sort between your heart and either someone else or something else going on in your life. Definitely. Okay. And then we have the Knight of Swords. Taking action with our words and communication, as he is the action taker. Oh, sorry, I have a squeaky chair here, just adjusting. He is the action taker of communication and thought and logic, being the air card of, or at least the air suit, I should say, being swords. Interesting spread we've got here, pile number 2. You have lots of air. You've got lots of swords. So definitely it's kind of a miracle or blessing coming about regarding like a mindset shift or communication of some sort. I think a lot of you, especially for those of you that are interested in male partners or you have a male partner, it's something to do with your male partner, or if like you're looking for a male partner, something to do along those lines. For those of you that are Now, don't run away if from the reading, if you're like, well, I'm not really looking for a partner. I'm not interested in that, because I will interpret it for like a non-romantic context in a moment here, but let me just interpret it for each potential type, I guess is what I want to say. So for those of you that are currently single and you're looking for a partner, the way I would interpret this particular reading is new energy of you meeting someone that you could potentially get into a romantic relationship with. I want to say it's a masculine energy that is probably quite sensitive because of the moon. More of an emotional, kind of watery energy, although you didn't have any cups otherwise besides the 2 of cups. But that's how I would read someone with the moon in Lenormand. So a man that is emotional, or like has a strong intuition, and then the fish, like I said, is an exchange. So you might actually work with this person, pile number 2, or you might like there's some sort of business exchange that you do with this person. So for those of you that are single and you're like, well, who the heck is this? Like, who are you talking about? Who am I going to meet, right? That's how I would interpret that, is like you meet this emotional man through an exchange of some sort. Either, I don't know if you have a business and you like sell things to customers or services, or, perhaps like he does, and then like you meet because you buy something from him, or like you work together, because the fish can also be kind of like a work card, being it's like, a money transaction card. And then 2, it's like, it could also represent like an emotional exchange of some sort. A man with an emotional exchange. I will say though, pile number 2, for those of you that are still single, still interpreting it for you, I don't think this guy is new, though, because with the Ace of Swords reversed, that's not a new idea. An Ace of Swords reversed is literally like, well, that's not new to my mind. I recognize who this is, or what this is, or what's going on here, at least in terms of, like, who I'm talking about. I don't think you necessarily know that he's into you, because, especially those of you who are single, like I said, because the Ace of Wands is like, oh, that's new. It's like the idea of him is not new, but the idea of him being passionate about you is, and you're like, oh. And then you have the 2 of Cups, and interestingly with the Knight of Swords afterwards, that's like, those 2 in tandem, pile number 2, are like a harmonious relationship. Because of the action of communication or truth in some sort of way, like they tell you that they like you or they're into you with the Knight of Swords, like they finally admit it. I think they might have been harboring it for a while though, because that Ace of Wands is even before all of this. And then interesting too, like initially I interpreted the Nine of Swords reversed as like an anxiety card or relieving anxiety. If you're into this person, pile number 2, that could represent like this is relieving the anxiety of you wondering, well, do they like me back? Or it could also be a card of like their anxiety about wondering if you like them back, that type of thing. So that's how I would interpret this for single people. For those of you who are already in a relationship, I want to say that then contextualize this reading more in terms of, especially if you have a male partner, right, or at least more masculine energy partner, that I think, I don't know, you might get a proposal soon. I don't say that very often in my readings. I don't think I've even had that pop up in a reading before on my channel, but that does look like, yeah, like they're not a new idea, or maybe you've already even talked about it. That's why the Ace of Swords reversed might come out. So it's not like it's like a big shock, but at the same time it's like, oh, it's coming faster than you think with that Knight of Swords though, because he's the fastest knight in the entire deck. So the communication coming in quickly about a union or a harmonious relationship. Okay. Maybe you've been kind of worried about it too. You're like, well, are they going to propose? Like, are they going to, et cetera? Or even if you're not at that level yet in the relationship, it could also be like, maybe you've been kind of flirting with each other. You're not so sure. You may not be like full on boyfriend, girlfriend, or girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, et cetera, or 2 girlfriends, 2 boyfriends, whatever, you know what I mean? Like you might not be at that stage yet, but it's like, whatever it is, like if you already kind of have, you've shown interest in each other already, like you're already past the kind of flirty, like, oh, do we like each other stage, it's like it, either way, it brings a new invigoration to the relationship because of that Ace of Wands. It's not a new idea, but it does bring a greater spark because of the Ace of Wands, right? greater passion too. And then for those of you, yeah, who are, you know, like I said, you already kind of know who this is and you're already sort of, you know, either flirting with them or you're in a relationship, then the Lenormand then would change to this blessing is coming in terms of, yeah, an exchange that you kind of have a subconscious feeling about. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not the ring card in Lenormand, but I'm gonna draw just one more Lenormand on the exchange. I want to kind of know what that is more. Spirit, can you give me one more Lenormand on the fish card? What's the exchange here? Because you're telling me like they do exchange something, but what is that? Oh boy, lots of cards coming out. Okay, we're gonna reshuffle that because it was like 5 cards that wanted to come out. I usually don't believe in accidents, pile number 2. But, Spirit, 1 or 2 cards, please. Thank you. We also have some other oracle cards to draw, too. Pile 2. Okay. Okay, right there. Or there. Ooh, that one. Oh, boy. And the woman. Exchange of the woman or feminine energy? The heck? Sorry, uno momento. The exchange of a woman or energy of feminine energy? Oh, maybe it's a greater level of vulnerability, because that's another way you could interpret the moon here, pile 2. Which would technically mean, like, a greater depth to the relationship. It's something along those lines. To summarize, it's like you getting to the next level with this particular person. Whatever that means at whatever stage of a relationship that you're at with whoever this is. Yeah, okay. And then for those of you that aren't, like, looking for a relationship, kind of interpreting this in, like, a non-romantic way, so we have, like, the Harmony card here. I mean, I think a lot of you it is. But if it's non-romantic, it might be a relationship, like, say, with a friend or, like, a family member. Then I want to say, like, an exchange of some sort will go well between the two of you. I get the feeling, like I said, because of the man and the woman, it's like a man and a woman involved in whatever this is. And then it's, like, something that will relieve your anxiety. And then, like, it's like the resolution to this comes a lot faster than you're expecting. I know, I apologize, that's kind of vague. There's so many different ways that you could interpret that, though, pile number 2 for, like a non-romantic type context. I'm going to ask Spirit for the non-romantic context, Spirit, for those watching that aren't really looking at, like, a relationship-related thing. Can you give me just one more card of, like, specificity on that interpretation? Thank you. Okay. The Emperor reversed. So masculine energy again, but in this negative. Okay. Oh, you know, for those of you that this isn't a romantic context, I almost wonder if it's a relationship that has had that disharmony. And it comes to greater harmony. I want to say it's the person that's being negative in the relationship, you know, like not in a non-romantic context, is masculine. Because it's the Emperor reverse. So it's like someone who's masculine that has, like, a negative energy that they're bringing in. And it's like it comes to a greater, like, agreement or, like a decision of some sort faster than you're expecting. And then especially with the 2 aces. I think they'll be more excited about what this is than you're thinking. They're not going to be quite as sharp about it. I wonder if some of you have been having a disagreement with someone recently that's of masculine energy. In which case, that's where this blessing is coming from. And I hope that's enough context for you to kind of understand, like, what the blessing will be. But I guess to summarize pile 2, it's like, yeah, for the non-romantic context, it's like that coming to finally, like, a harmonious conclusion faster than you expect. Okay. And then let's grab your oracle cards. We also have the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. Anything else you want to say, Spirit, to pile 2 today? Yeah, and I was going to ask more about the timing, but, you know, this reading already was, you know, asking Spirit, like, by the end of the year. So that is the timing I'm seeing so far for you, pile 2. By the end of the year, because that was just, you know, the whole topic was by the end of the year, but Then we have dreams. Dreams of some sort. We also have red roses again. Okay, just like we do here in the picture of the Two of Cups. Also white roses, but... And a white dress. That's another thing. White dresses keep popping up. I mean, even here in the Two of Cups. I mean, you've got a white dressed, the feminine figure. Of course, she's got a white dress here. She's got a white dress in the Nine of Swords. And then she's also got a white dress in dreams. So I think some of you are getting married. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments down below. I think some of you are getting proposed to. Does she have a ring on her left finger? Yeah, she's got a ring on her ring finger too. And it almost looks like a bridal veil. I don't know. Some of you are getting proposed to by the end of the year. I'm telling you that. You're getting proposed to by the end of the year. I can tell you that. Okay. For those of you that are in a relationship where you're not married yet, and you've been waiting for it, by the end of the year. So... And then we have the Sacred Destiny Oracle. And then for those of you that this is in a romantic context while I draw the next card, I don't know if maybe, like, for those of you especially, like, it's like a negative relationship that's been affecting you, even if it's not romantic, it's like, you're afraid that it's going to affect your dreams, but it won't. Like, I don't know if this person's been impeding your goals in some way or impeding your dreams, and that's kind of why you're having this disharmonious relationship with them, if that's how, like, this reading feels more resonating with you. Something along those, oh, that one for sure, along those lines. And enlightenment, oh, an understanding. Coming to a greater understanding of something, yes, okay. I think too, pile number 2, a lot of what's been causing you this anxiety here, or maybe if it's anxiety too on the other end of whatever this relationship is, the other person I should say. I think what's causing the issue is that it's like a lack of knowledge. Like, I don't know if you're kind of biting your fingernails, like, well, when is this going to happen? Or, like, what's going to happen? Or with whoever this person is. And it's like this blessing, this miracle of this enlightenment. Like, oh, okay, that's what they were doing. That's why it took so long. Or that's why, like, they did this particular thing. Or it's like you come to this, because, I mean, when we talk about enlightenment, it literally is the action of being given greater light. Hence, you know, that's part of the root in that particular word is enlightenment. Being given greater understanding, light shedding upon something that was dark before. So it's like you learn something and you understand something. You're like, oh, okay, now I get it. I'm going to draw just one more clarifier on that, because I've had previous commenters mention, like, oh, can you pull more clarifier cards? So I want to honor that by pulling one more here on enlightenment. So what will they be enlightened about, Spirit? Ah, okay, that one. Someone's been hard at work on something. It's been a long time in the making. That's what you're going to be enlightened about. Hard at work. Things have been working in the background that you haven't been quite noticing. Okay, and the second card is the Empress reversed. That feminine energy again. But in the negative this time, with it being reversed, or at least out of balance. So, it's an enlightenment or an understanding of something having been hard at work where you think they weren't being fruitful. Or you think that they weren't being nurturing enough. Or you think that they weren't being, or in the opposite, sometimes the Empress reversed can mean smothering energy. Like you think someone's been kind of smothering. Especially for those of you that are single, but like you kind of know who this is and you've been maybe kind of flirting with them or you have a crush on them. I would pay attention to how much they've either been seeming like they've been ignoring you or how much it seems like they've been smothering you. It can be like different aspects or like different opposite ends here with the Empress especially. Same thing too, like if you are in a relationship and like maybe if the topic of marriage comes up and you're like your partner just kind of runs the other way and you're like, well, why do they always run away from this topic? Or why do they keep bringing it up? Maybe that's like it's on the opposite end. Like too much or too little. Something along those lines. Either way, someone's been hard at work at something that you haven't been noticing. And that's what the enlightenment will be, is the understanding of, oh, they were working hard on that. Oh, I understand. That can also be maybe where the fish came in earlier too, because it can be, as I said, like an exchange. Maybe they were saving up money for something. That can be like another way, like this was coming about. They were saving up money and that's why it took so long. That may, especially too, like depending on your culture, but like here in the West, obviously it's, you've got the rings and those cost money, or like weddings cost money depending on how big the wedding is, or same thing too, like, even if it's not at that level of a relationship yet, it can be like maybe they were trying to gather together something more impressive before they asked you out. Or same thing too, like if this isn't a romantic context reading for you, it could mean literally like the other person involved in a platonic context would be, there's something about you're going to learn regarding, you're going to learn something regarding like how hard they've actually been working on something, or how hard they haven't been working on something, especially now with the Empress reversed too. Like they've been hard at work neglecting, or they've been hard at work. It's some sort of understanding. You're like, oh, okay, now it makes sense. All right. That's what they were waiting for. That's what's been causing this disharmony. Okay. Especially for those of you, like I said, it might be like a relationship in disharmony that you've been worrying about a lot. Okay. So expect those things, okay? I know I had to read this particular pile for quite a bunch of different potential outcomes, as these are general readings, so I want to make sure I kind of like cover different ways that this particular reading could apply to each person depending on your situation. But yes, do expect, in all, to summarize for everybody, expect good news coming and knowledge coming regarding an exchange, or like some sort of truth or communication coming forward regarding like a relationship, either one that you has not been going well or one that is going well and you hope it like moves to the next level. Okay. There you go. So that's your reading for today, my wonderful pile number 2. And also by the end of the year. Remember that timing. Okay. So as I always say at the end of the readings, I hope you liked it. I hope it resonated. And of course, most of all, I hope that it helped you. That's what I care about most with my readings, is that it helps people. So if so, with my little spiel, just hear me out. Like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. And thank you so much if you choose to do even just one of those 3, if not all 3. Every little bit helps, and I thank you much for doing so if you choose to do so. And as is our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, Pile 2. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the happy little miracle / blessing that will come and manifest by the end of the year that you're currently watching this in. And as you recall, you were drawn to the 5 of Swords for your pile leader today. Now, we have 2 blue jays. Looks like they're kind of having a bit of a conflict, right? One is on the branch, one is off the branch. They even have like twigs in their talons, like, oh god, we're going to fight it out and duke it out. Because the 5 of Swords, my friends, does represent a time of conflict. Especially because it's the sword suit, which is air element in tarot. Tends to represent conflicts of the mind, conflicts of the tongue, or, verbal battles, right? Or it can also be battles of truth. What is truth? Different perspectives clashing against one another. So I have a feeling, pile number 3, because you were intuitively drawn to this particular card for your pile leader, your happy little miracle, blessing, etc., is going to come from some area of your life where you have been feeling conflict recently. Okay? Now, that might be conflict with other people. That's a very traditional way to interpret the 5 of Swords, just like the 2 blue jays fighting and duking it out with the twigs, right? Over probably berries, looks like. Maybe competition over resources. Maybe that's also how that manifests or has been reflecting in your life. Maybe it's a coworker at work you've been fighting over resources with, in terms of, maybe not fighting, face to face, but, maybe you heard that they got a raise that you didn't. And you're like, oh man, that makes me upset, right? When you know that you also deserve one. Or it could also be, conflicts with family, maybe that's been going on recently. And then 2, even if you interpret it not with a relationship involved, it could also be, as I said, a conflict of the mind in terms of, maybe you're kind of stuck between 2 decisions or 2 choices, and you're like, man, I really don't know what to pick. This is a really, really tough battle. Okay. So let us look at your other cards that will give us more context. But yes, that is where the blessing is coming from, is some area of your life where those matters are involved. Okay, so let's look at first your Lenormand, and then we're going to do your tarot spread as well to begin. So asking Spirit, please guide us to the right cards for pile 3. Tell us more about this little miracle blessing coming by the end of the year. Okay, we've got the Man. So maybe perhaps masculine energy involved. Could be yourself, could be another man involved in what's going on. Okay. It's odd, pile 2, calling you pile 2, oops, pile 3, you're pile 3. I'm getting a feeling intuitively of like a tiredness of the throat. And I know you might be like, well, but you've been recording readings, Lone Pine. Maybe that's why. But I don't typically have a tired throat, even by pile 3's recording. So I'm getting the feeling, interpreting that. I don't know if you've been arguing with someone a lot. Maybe that's why there's like a tiredness of the throat. It's like, oh man, I'm so sick of having to say this. Or it's like a point you're trying to get across to somebody, and it's like they're not getting it. Like they're being kind of a blockhead. Like they just, one ear out the other, just they got potato in their ears or something. I don't know. But it's like your throat is just tired. You're like, I'm so sick of this. And then we've got, okay, the book. So secrets or knowledge. And then we've got the key. A man whose secrets are the key, or a man whose knowledge is the key. Or it could also be, even if it's not a man physically involved, the masculine card can represent masculine energy. So masculine energy, so an action taken, or protective energy, something that's like knowledge that's the key to something. Let's look at your tarot cards, pile number 3, to get even more context here. Spirit, 5 cards, please. Can you tell us more about what's going on here? Oh, man. Yeah, for those of you that have been in conflict, though, you're tired. You're so tired. Your throat hurts. You're like, oh, man, I don't want to argue with this person anymore. It's just so stupid. Or maybe it's not, like, stupid, but there's this feeling of, like, either something like about the argument you think is stupid, or it's like you think... I mean, you don't want to admit this, right? But, of course, when we're in an argument with someone and we think they're wrong, obviously sometimes we're like, oh man, they're stupid. I mean, not literally, not always at least, but... let's see, 1, 2, Spirit, 2. Okay, thank you. All right, let's take a gander at these cards, pile 3. We've got the 10 of Pentacles. Okay, might be over inheritance. Maybe that's the battle over inheritance here, pile number 3. 10 of Pentacles is an inheritance card. Family, too. It might be a family member. That's another one representation that the 10 of Pentacles is all about. And legacy, passing things down. It can also be the distribution of funds through, like, kind of like, not merit so much, but based more so on time. Okay, because the 9 of Pentacles would be more on your merit. 10 of Pentacles is more on, like, well, I've been here longer, so I deserve more. Because it's, like, the card of, like, where the material meets the legacy of things. Okay. Could also be, too, if it's, like, a coworker, you might be fighting over who inherits, like, a position of some sort. Like, say, if your boss is retiring. Something along those lines. Then we have the 6 of Cups reversed. Okay, maybe a little bit more of a family tint for some of you. 6 of Cups reversed can mean negative past things. It is the card of nostalgia and events from the past, especially relationships from the past too, because Cups suit is being water element is related to our relationships and our connections with other people, pile number 3. So I think this is family for a lot of you. I think there's been a conflict either over, like, who gets what, like inheritance, which does unfortunately happen a lot. I've heard a lot of horror stories in my life of inheritance-related battles, right? And I'm sure you've heard them too in your own family or, online news, etc. Or from friends. Yeah, not fun. And then we've got Ace of Cups reversed. Okay. Not feeling very happy about something. And then, but we get victory, though. We got the 6 of Wands, pile number 3. And then the 3 of Wands reversed. Okay, I will tell you this, pile number 3. For those of you that are having a fight over an inheritance of some sort right now, and it's been worrying you, and you're like, man, I wish I didn't have to do this, or fight over this, or that this wasn't a problem, etc., all those frustrations. I will tell you this right now, pile 3. You're going to get victory in this area. That's the miracle or blessing coming forward by the end of the year, because you have the 6 of Wands. That is the card of triumph. This is the card of I win, okay? Not that we, want to, I guess I wouldn't say it's childish necessarily to always break it down to, like, well, who wins and who loses, right? Because arguments as adults are often more complex than that, but that is the I win card. So I will say this, if you have been having issues in that area recently, by the end of the year, you'll find victory with this, okay? So in terms of inheritance, and there's a battle regarding that, like, say, you're like, well, this is more fair for this thing to happen, or, and then someone else in your family is like, well, no, this is more fair, or whatever, And then legal stuff can come involved too. You're going to win whatever that is. Okay. You're going to have victory. And especially too, I think part of your worry pile number 3 has been maybe you've had plans for after this inheritance, especially the 3 of Wands tends to represent plans that we've made for the future, and especially reversed pile 3. The 3 of Wands reversed can mean, like the plans that we've made for the future are actions to actually embark on those plans, especially if it's like moving, or like going forward into the future. Because literally it's the card of like he set out his ships to launch here, and he's overlooking them, right? He's on the coast and he's looking at the ships that he launched. Like how is this going to turn out? But reverse, it's like, man, he couldn't even get the ships to launch because like all this crud was going on. That blockage is also going to be removed here by the end of the year. Okay, you'll have victory in general, but also with blockages regarding plans that you've made for the future. Now, the interesting part here is the Lenormand reading pile number 3, because you have the man, the book, and the key, as I said. I think what will solve this problem, especially for those of you that this is like inheritance or family related, is, and this is how I describe how you read Lenormand. It's basically each card is kind of like a word in a sentence that you string together with the context of how they're placed, okay? So I would read this in one sentence as: a man's knowledge or his secret is the key to something that you're looking for. A man's knowledge or secret is the key. So I think part of this will come about because you learn something about potentially maybe it's a man involved or masculine energy that you didn't know before, and that's the key that helps you seal that victory. So it really depends on, if it is inheritance related, like what kind of legal battle it might be. Maybe it's over the interpretation of a will, or it's over, like, maybe the will was kind of vague, or maybe even someone who died didn't really have a will, so it's kind of been like, a neck and neck battle over who gets what. You're getting some knowledge or secret that will help you in what you're looking for victory with this man or masculine energy, okay? It might be a brother specifically because, we have the family card with the 10 of Pentacles, we have the sibling and the past card with the 6 of Cups, and even the Blue Jays, I think they're probably not related Blue Jays because they're fighting, but, they do look the same, so we can kind of think of that as like, oh, they almost look like twins or like siblings, right? So something along those lines. And then if you're not looking at like inheritance related matters, if this is more like a battle outside of family, although we did have a lot of family cards, but I will read it for that context too. I would say that this miracle or this blessing by the end of the year is going to be something regarding, like say if it's like a boss thing at work or like a coworker that, you and them are kind of neck and neck for inheriting like a promotion from a boss that's retiring, just as one example. Now, the way you might read that is, you're the one that really should get the promotion because of that 10 of Pentacles. You're like, well, this is my legacy. This is what I've been working for. I've been here longer. I have greater skills for this position, et cetera, et cetera. But then, like, the 6 of Cups might be reversed, kind of a feeling of like, well, but the past feels like it's being neglected here. I do have the legacy. I should inherit whatever this is. But it's like no one's really considering my past in this, and I feel unhappy with that Ace of Cups reversed. Or like you learned something recently that made you unhappy emotionally. Because aces in tarot are like new energies coming in, being the first of their suit. Well, the blessing in that case, pile number 3, is going to be a victory with the plans that you've made that have felt stifled. So in that case, it would be a victory in terms of you're going to get that promotion. Okay? Or, whatever the conflict might be, it's going to turn in your favor in the end, by the end of the year. Okay, so as I always say with these readings, as they're general readings, kind of always extrapolate what I say and take it as it resonates towards the situation that you feel matches what I've described context-wise so far, okay? I do have some other cards to get to, though. I do have some oracle cards. I want to see a little bit more detail. Sometimes these also come out as advice cards from Spirit, so let's see. Spirit, what else do you want to say about the situation for pile 3? Thank you. And I will pull another clarifier. As I've discussed with the other piles today, sometimes in comments I have people ask, hey, can you pull more clarifier cards? And I do want to honor that, so, this one for sure. I will pull a clarifier on maybe what the secret is, maybe a hint of what it is, the knowledge, because that might help you find it. Pile number 3, purification. It's interesting, yeah, because sunflowers do purify soil. Purification, something being understood of purer intent. I'll pull another clarifier on that one too. And then let's pull your vintage wisdom here, and then we'll pull the clarifiers afterwards. Okay, anything else, Spirit, you want to say to pile 3 with this deck? Thank you. This one for sure. And wisdom. Yes, understanding. We have an owl here. It makes me think of Athena. She was a goddess of wisdom. Yeah, it's knowledge. Something with knowledge is really gonna help you here, pile number 3, with this miracle, this blessing. You're gonna be given some sort of knowledge that's going to help you in whatever this argument or conflict is. So let's pull those clarifiers. Actually, I was going to pull tarot, but I'm going to pull Lenormand for the Lenormand clarification. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit more? What's the knowledge that pile 3 will gain that might help them? That's the key. Can you give us a tiny hint at least? I mean, I suppose for each of you, being this is a general reading, it might apply. I mean, the knowledge might be completely vastly different, or what secret you might understand or learn, but I will try to clarify as much as I can for all of you. Oh, that one for sure. Okay. Oh, the writer or the bard? Knowledge or news, delivery, message. It's something to do with knowledge or secret regarding a message that was sent, or like news. Because the writer can be like they're almost kind of like someone announcing something, or bringing news, or a message or letter of something. It might be like email communication or like text communication that you find and you're like, oh, and then it's like that's the key to the thing that you're looking for, or it gives you a greater understanding of like the other person involved. It's something along those lines. It's a message or news of some sort is the knowledge or the secret that you gain. Okay, so yeah, like I said, communications, digital or not. Interesting. Tasty, pile number 3. That's interesting. Oh boy. Kind of a mystery, but interesting. Tasty is the word I want to use, like I said. Alright, can we get a clarifier on the purification card, please? Thank you, Spirit. What's being purified? Or what's the greater context with that card? Thank you. Something being made purer. As I said, pure intention was the phrase that came forward, but let's see. Oh, that one for sure. Okay, thank you. The moon reversed. Illusions revealed. I wonder if the person you're in conflict with has been hiding something, pile number 3. Because the moon reversed is literally like something that was a complete illusion that gets unveiled, and you're like, oh, well, that was fake the whole time. That's kind of what that means in terms of like, and so I think purification in that context would mean like, well, maybe that's why pure intention came through. Because it's like, oh, you finally understand their intention here. And you're like, oh, well, they told me their intention was this, but the whole time it actually was something else. And I think that's what that communication reveals. And that's what gives you that victory, pile number 3. Yo, okay, that's cool. And then we've got Judgment, another major arcana with level up, or literally Judgment. Yeah, it's like it brings you to a higher understanding. And you're like, oh, because Judgment literally is, as I said, like a card of like getting to the next level of something, like the next level of understanding. And like, we have Wisdom here too with your almost kind of Athena themed card here with Owl on her shoulder. But then too, Judgment can be literally judgment of some sort, like unveiling the illusion around judgment, around purity or purification. Okay. It might also be that they tried to profess that they had a more noble goal than they actually do. That's another way that I would interpret that, pile 3, okay. But so either way, to summarize everything, whoever you're in conflict with or whatever it's about, the blessing or miracle coming forward by the end of the year is that you're going to get victory in this area of your life, this conflict, this argument, whatever it's about, through the mechanism of you learning a secret or some sort of knowledge around news or some communication or along those lines, right? That gives you the key to that victory. And it's something about understanding greater details around unveiling the illusion behind like what their real intentions are and like what the purity of their intentions are, okay? Something that will give you wisdom and understand, oh, that's really what they were after all along. Now, some of you, it might be like a positive understanding of like, oh, I thought they were after something kind of like worse than I thought, but actually like they had purer intentions than I understood. Or some of you, it might be the flip side where it's like, oh, Well, now I understand they had worse intentions than I thought. But now that I have that knowledge, I can find victory in this situation that I didn't have access to before. That was making me so upset with that Ace of Cups reversed, okay? And all in all, pile number 3 too, it'll unblock things. Also as a part of the miracle/blessing that will help you take action on plans that you've made for the future. Because currently that 3 of Wands is that blocked energy being reversed, but it's a victory regarding some sort of blockage here, okay? So that victory will be that key that unlocks, okay, now I can move forward in the future and leave this conflict behind and go forward with what I wanted to do that this argument or this family problem or whatever it might be has been holding me back on, okay? So, beautiful. Wonderful reading, pile number 3. As I always say at the end of the readings, I hope that you liked the reading. I hope that it, of course, resonated, and most of all, that it helped you. That's what I care about, well, like most with my readings, that you walk away feeling helped in some way. And if so, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you choose to do so. But if you do, even just one of those things, even if it's just a like, thank you so much. Every little bit helps, and I'm very, very thankful for, anything, like I said. Likes, comments, subscriptions, etc. And as we always say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile number 3. Lots of victories. Hopefully less conflict, right? And more wisdom. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.